Sagan.
Everybody, once again for another edition of Bill Mack's Weird News. Yes, I come to you straight to you each chance I get, and I give you some of the weirdest news. I mean, we always get so many news channels. There's not enough, and it's just regular everyday news. But when do you actually get to hear weird news? You know, weird things that go on around the world, even in our own country, even elsewhere. So I hope you like this edition of Bill Mack's Weird News, as we got a few stories for you together. You know, crime and dumb people don't mix, as we see in these stories today. First up, we have a story of cops following, and this is from credit to Huffington Post for this. Cops follow a trail of macaroni salad straight to the robbery suspects. So apparently, it says you never trust macaroni salad because sooner or later it's going to turn on you when you least expect it. And it was released during the morning that the sheriff's office reports that thieves had broken in and they stole a cash register from a local Build-A-Burger restaurant, you know, along the establishment's surveillance equipment, and a large bowl of macaroni salad. Now, why would you think they would? They must have been very hungry, but when they were on their robbery attempt. Deputies were hot on the criminals' trails, literally, as they attempted to escape along a certain trail. It says that they found, as they were going along the trail, they found all kinds of things like cash register parts, surveillance system parts, rubber gloves, loose change, and a steady trail of macaroni salad, said the sheriff's office. It was later discovered that the suspect stole a large bowl of macaroni salad, in which they took turns eating it along their escape route. So, okay, folks, if you're going to rob anything, don't take food like that could leave a trail. You know, you always hear stories like back when the two kids in the store, I can't remember the name of it, and they had left breadcrumbs along the way. You can't do that, because sooner or later that food's going to backfire on you. But it says here, officers arrested the three suspects, 34, 35, and 23, by Sunday afternoon. The three had been charged with third-degree burglary, third-degree criminal mischief, and fourth-degree grand larceny. And one of them faces additional charges for criminal possession of a controlled substance. So they have been booked, and most of the stolen property that they had recovered. So just remember, folks, when you're make sure you're on a full stomach before you rob it, because chances are when you least expect it, hunger's going to strike, and 9 times out of 10, hunger's going to win. So make sure if you're going to rob something, you actually eat beforehand, because then things like that tend to happen, and you just totally lose sight of it. So good luck to those guys. I mean, hey, the macaroni salad, you know, it can really. Macaroni salad is pretty good. So just all three of them eating out of it once, just please, just leave the salad at home. Leave the salad in the store. Just take the money and go with it. Just leave food, you know. Up next, this is what cops are saying. This kidnapper could actually be the dumbest criminal of the year. He allegedly scheduled a meeting with the victim and actually showed up for it, right? Yeah, you're hearing this right. This report says, and this is from the Newser, credit to Newser with this. It says if he could survive the remaining 340-some days of the year, he definitely wins dumbest criminal of the year. Quotes the police chief. The dumb criminal in question was a Pennsylvania 17-year-old kid who was charged with kidnapping and robbing an old woman at gunpoint. Now, police say that he entered into the victim's home through the window and woke her up by poking her, you know, with a gun. And it says that she didn't really have, you know, being old lady, she really didn't have any cash to give him. So he decided that he was going to take her to an ATM machine and get the money there. And police say he wanted $2,000, but the poor lady didn't have nothing but $460. So he thought this. He held the victim and her husband. He held them for another hour in their kitchen. And he ends up telling this. Now get this, folks. He ends up telling the victim and her husband to meet him in the parking lot the following morning with the $1,500 left that he couldn't get. So he's actually telling them to meet him the next morning. So I guess he's going to go home, get some rest, you know, come back the next morning, get the $1,500, and all will be well. But think about it, folks. Why would you tell your victim to, it's okay, just meet me tomorrow? I understand you don't have it right now, and I get that. Just meet me tomorrow, and we'll get this settled out. So, but anyway, it says here, not that they believed that a robber would actually show up for a scheduled appointment, but it was something that they had to cover. And it said, not only did the dude show up, it says that he was wearing the exact same clothes that the victims described from the previous morning. So this kid goes home, wears the same stuff, goes to bed, sleeps in it, gets back up the next day with the actual same clothes. Because you know they're going to tell the cops he was wearing this. So this only makes it even more of a case when this kid just actually shows up wearing the exact same clothes. And it said that he was wearing the same clothes. Unfortunately for him, that it was the police and not the victim that was there that was waiting for him. And it said, according to Fox, that he allegedly had $363 and what appeared to be the victim's watch on him when he was arrested. It says the police said that he threatened to kill the couple multiple times, including if they went to the cops, that they were scared to death of him. And he is facing 11 charges, including robbery and kidnapping, in connection with the incident. So that just goes to show you, folks, what are these robbers thinking? You know, this world is not set up and professional that you just figure you'll rob somebody and, hey, I understand you don't have the money right now, times are tough, you know what, I'll give you a little more time. Just go and meet me in the morning, because that's so ridiculous to go and actually do something like this and to wear the same clothes, to have the money on him and have the victim's watch on him at the same time. That he really, honestly, you wonder, what are people thinking when they do things like that? So, you know, I mean, he's going to have he's probably going to be put away for a long time. 11 charges. I mean, you know, but when is there really an award for being the dumbest criminal of the year? And looks like this kid's well on his way to doing it. So we'll see and keep you updated here. Oh, this is a good story too. Well, the next story up here. There's a rule within drug dealers, in drug traffickers, that you never, ever get high on the stuff you're trying to take care of, that you're trying to get rid of. Never do that, because sometimes it can cause you to be trippy. You don't think clearly. This stuff can really get your mess with your mind, as it does in this case of this, because the headline here, another headline from the Newser, we credit them, is the stoned drug traffickers called 911 on themselves. On themselves, they were hauling 20 pounds of pot. That's right, folks, 20 pounds of pot. And they ended up stoned calling 911 on themselves. And you just can't make this up. An unusual 911 call that tipped off police in Idaho that two guys that had entered the state with 20 pounds of marijuana. It says because one of them was the one who placed it, as the East Idaho News reports. Court documents showed that the two guys, 22 and 23, were hauling pot from Las Vegas. They were hauling it to Montana, when at some point they ended up getting high off their stuff. And, you know, you just can't do that. And by them doing that, causing them to get high, they came to believe, which was not really the case, that undercover cops were following them. And they're like, hi, we're two dumbasses that got caught trying to bring some stuff over your border, and all your cops are just driving around us like a bunch of jack wagons, and I'd just like for you guys to end it. That was the actual statement he told them. And it says that he tells the dispatcher in an audio of the call. The entire exchange sounds very funny. It says like a deleted scene from Pineapple Express, which if you've seen Pineapple Express, you know what I'm talking about. They asked if they had weapons, and one of them said no, just a bunch of snacks and stuff, because, hey, when you get stoned, when you get high, when you own pot, you're going to have the munchies. So, you know, at least they were prepared. And they said they also had a really nice bulldog. Oh, cool, says the dispatcher, who plays the call perfectly at one point, and asking him, what's your name, man? And he was speaking to one of them, and he says the dispatcher, he's a nice guy. Want me to jump in the air and click my heels twice or what? And regarding the phantom undercover cops, he says, we tried waving them down, and that didn't work. So they think that these undercover cops know what they're doing. They're not arresting them, but they're just following them around, and it's creeping these guys out because they're paranoia, because they think these cops are after them, when really that's not the case. So to see what happens when you break that cardinal rule of dope dealing, you don't get high off of your own supply. So it says here that they were charged with each charge with felony drug trafficking, giving that their haul of a street value of $16,000, reports. And one of them received a 5 years suspended sentence, 5 years of probation, and a month in jail. The other tested positive for pot, cocaine, and oxycodone on his sentencing day, and received 1.5 years to 8 years in prison. So that just tells you, folks, never break that rule. Never ever try to get high off of your supply. So just funny. I just think it's so funny they do that. So it will get you to thinking. So that's why you don't do drugs, folks, because when you do, you may turn out like an idiot like these guys. For all you fans, and I will end it with these last couple of stories here, as we talked about last time, since now is a big Pokemon Go thing. This woman tried catching a Pokemon in a cemetery and gets stuck in a tree. I mean, come on. Authorities say a New Jersey woman was trying to catch a Pokemon in a cemetery. She ended up getting stuck in a tree, and she ended up having to call 911 to rescue her. And it brought out firefighters in the place that said that the woman climbed a tree that night while playing Pokemon Go on her smartphone inside the cemetery. Now, she called 911, and the fire and rescue arrived to get her down with the ladder. And the police and the chief said, he told the TV outlet, he said she was a bit embarrassed at that point. Fire officials didn't release her name to spare her any additional embarrassment. And in a Facebook post, the police department warned Pokemon Go players to watch where they're going so that no one gets hurt. So we see the weirdness that happens. Now, granted, folks, there have been some dangerous things happen with Pokemon, but then you've got some really stupid stuff that happens, and people are actually doing this. Pokemon, they're not focusing on anything other than where to find these things. And as this lady found out the hard way, and as we will in our last story, she climbs a tree trying to find it. Now, I'm sorry. If I'm chasing Pokemon and he's up a tree, up on the roof, wherever, he can stay there. I'm not going to try to get him. I don't want to play the game that much that I've got to go in that kind of place and actually find Pokemon. So he can just stay in that tree all he wants. And I'm pretty sure she learned the hard way that if he's high up in the air, just let him be. Just move on to the next one. But be careful when you're playing this game, because as you see, and you'll know in this next story from this, what can happen when you do play Pokemon, because not everybody gets it and understands it, and things can happen. So I credit ABC News with that funny story. So rounding up from the Orlando Sentinel, this is our last story. Deputies report that a man shot at teens playing Pokemon Go. It says that 2 teens looking for Pokemon were mistaken as thieves looking for a house to rob and ended up getting shot at. Now, a man was sleeping in his home around 1:30, and then a loud noise that woke him up. And the 37-year-old, he looked outside, and he's happened to see a white car parked on the road outside of his home. Now, he ends up grabbing his handgun, and he went outside to look around to see what was going on. And as he came up to the car, he overheard one of them say, "Did you get anything?" That's when he stepped in front of the vehicle thinking they had possibly broken into his house. Now, he raised his gun and ordered them not to move. So he picks up his gun. He can't see who it is. He thinks they're robbing it, and he's pointing his gun at them not to move. So we see that the vehicle ends up speeding towards him, and he moved out of its path. And then he fires rounds at the vehicle because he said, according to him, that it was attempting to strike him. So the detectives in the area couldn't find the vehicle, and the next morning it says that one of the mothers, the mother of one of the teens, called the authorities to report what happened because she said her 19-year-old son and his 16-year-old friend were playing Pokemon Go on their phones yet again when they were confronted by a man coming out of a home and started shooting at them. So you see the two different point of views and what can happen here. It says that the mother told the deputies that the teens didn't tell her about the accident until they saw the car had a flat tire and bullet holes in the rear tire, hubcap, and fender. And it said the officers talked with the teens and said they were sitting in the car. Now this is what they were doing, what they said they were doing. And you see the viewpoint of the man in the house. It says that they were sitting in the car hunting Pokemons. One of them was Marowak and Tauros. I guess that's how you pronounce it. I'm not a Pokemon person, so forgive me if that's wrong. But it says that one of them said, "Did you catch him?" And the other responded said, "Yeah, did you?" That's when the teen said they heard the gunfire and sped away. So they asked, he heard him say, he thought he heard him say, "Did you get anything?" They said they asked him, "Did you get him?" So you see how that can kind of sound alike. And it says that when they got home to see if they were injured, if there was any damage to the vehicle, they didn't see anything and decided not to report it because they thought it was someone trying to scare them. So the officers will continue investigating the incident. So we see what can happen when you walk up on people's places that don't know you, especially at 1:30 at night. Don't have your kids out playing, or even when you're an adult. Be careful when you're playing this game, as I said before, because you never know what can happen in this time. But luckily these teens, nobody got hurt and all. But just be safe when playing these Pokemon games. I mean, you see the weird stuff that can happen. People mistaking you for anything. So as we say. But yeah, once again, like I said, when there's weird stories around, Bill Mack is here. He's willing to talk to you about them, to share them with you, and just see how kind of weird things you can hear out there in this world. But until next time, with another edition of Bill Mack's Weird News. This is Bill Mack. Take care, everybody. Until next time.